Okay, we are going to talk about promotions and distribution in chapter 14. And could you please put your pens and papers down and pay attention to the class right now? Close your iPads and stuff like that. All right. So what is promotion? Promotion is all the marketing efforts that you use to inform targeted customers of the products, benefits, and the products you offer to persuade them to buy, essentially, right? You want to get the word out there, let them know that you exist, and convince them to make a choice to buy their product. Let's talk about advertising. Hold on one second. I'm gonna to pause this real quick. Something strange here. I wonder. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I stopped recording, so. No, I think it's still recording. Okay, no, it is still recording. Sorry about that. My screen looks a little different here. Let's see if it worked or not at the end. Anyway, so the different types of promotions you can do are advertising, public relations, sales promotion, and personal selling. What do you know about these? Give me an example of advertising.
Outdoors, social media.
Yes, outdoor social media, commercials, billboards, magazine ads, social media, right? That's all advertising, right? What about public relations? We're going to talk a little more about it, but just to go over it quickly. Yes.
What is called the worldwide companies for like electronic technology?
That's not necessarily public relations. Public relations is what other people say about you. And sometimes you get that as a result by attending those, right? Or exhibiting and other people talk about you. Yeah.
News?
Yes, news. Exactly.
So if you have a brand like in the same thing with like someone take a photo of the with your brand, that's kind of public relation.
Say that again.
For example, you have a brand, and there is some friends that are using your brand, and some paparazzi go and take a photo and forward that photo with your brand. That's a public relation.
If they then show that brand somewhere else in the news or in the background or something, that could be public relations, yeah. But you really have no direct control over what other people say about you. You can influence it, but
So it needs to be saying something about it.
yes,
Oh.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Customer service and word of mouth from the public?
No. We'll talk about that in a bit. Just quickly, sales promotions was when you give discounts, temporary promotions, things go on sale. And then they will talk about personal selling when you actually have salespeople that go out and try to sell, right? And when to apply which one. So role of advertising, paid impersonal mass communication from an identified sponsor to influence a target audience. So it's impersonal. So it's like one-way communication. It's like you see an ad on social media, or you see, actually social media can be interactive too, because you can click on things and then, but essentially originally it's just one-way communication or impersonal. It's not personalized towards you like personal selling, right? It's in one ad that goes out to everybody, right? What is it used? It builds brand awareness and brand association. What is brand awareness and what is brand association? Yes. Okay.
Brand association.
Yes. Yes, when you think soda, you think Coca-Cola. When you think running shoes, you think Nike. That's brand association. What's brand awareness? Yeah, that is kind of this company and this brand exists without necessarily associating it with a certain product. Like Procter & Gamble. You all know there's such brand, right? Do you know what they do? Kinds of things, but out of the top of my head, I don't know right now. I don't know, baby products, lotions, or stuff like that, probably. But I don't necessarily associate them with a certain product. But Coca-Cola, I associate with soda. right? Apple, I associate with phones, smartphones. That's brand association. So advertising works well with that because you really get the word out more and more. First, you get the word out that maybe you're a new company or you have a new brand and you want people to know, to be aware of it. And then you want it to be associated with certain products. It builds, emphasizes product differentiation. We do things better, or we are cheaper, or we are more customized, or whatever. We have more options, you know. Builds brand loyalty and brand equity. Brand loyalty is when people are loyal to your brand. They will come back. They will not likely shop around, or if they do shop around, they will still come back to your brand, right? What is brand equity?
So, a brand to get along from them.
You can actually put it on your, yeah, you can actually put a value on it, right? You know, if I'm a bank and I'm going to loan money and somebody wants to sell shoes and I'm the bank and I'm like, okay, wow, they're going to do well. I'm more likely to loan them money if they have that brand equity, right? Yeah. Informs and educates consumers about the things happening in the industry or about what they are doing. Goal is to increase sales and sometimes lowers prices, not necessarily, right? But you can, right? So you can, if you lower prices, you can advertise. What company do we know that has been lowering prices recently? That we all know. All the prices go up. Tesla. Tesla has lowered prices again. I would be so upset if I bought Tesla like 2 years ago or so. I don't have a Tesla, I never will, but I don't like them that much. You know, I would be very upset. Let's say you spend 70,000 on a Tesla, and now you can buy it for 45,000. Wouldn't you be upset? Yeah, but it is what it is, right? Yeah. Types of media advertising uses. Oh, direct mail, by the way, is also advertising. Could be email as well, right? Television broadcasting, newspapers, magazines, radio, internet, outdoor media, right? Those are some of the typical advertising outlets that companies use to get the word out. Advertising trends, what's been happening? You know, online advertising. What's online advertising in general? Banner ads, you go on a website, you go on a news site, you hardly ever have to pay for newspapers anymore, for newspaper articles, but they're full with ads. And you scroll and you read the article, and then all of a sudden you have to keep scrolling and see 8 different ads before you can continue reading the article. Also, when you look up recipes, you know, you always see that stuff, right? That's how they make money. I mean, newspapers or publishers have always made money through advertising, but it's even more prevalent online now. It's even harder to escape it, right? Pop-up windows and things like that, right? Social media. Social media is a big trend in advertising. Celebrity endorsements on social media, you know, YouTubers, partnerships, yes.
You know, like for YouTube, like you can pay so there's no ads because like the YouTubers are making money off the ads, but if you pay YouTube, maybe there's no ads.
Yes, I have it. It's YouTube Premium. Yeah, I have YouTube Premium. It's kind of expensive. I think I might cancel it. I don't watch YouTube that much. Yeah.
I also like free screen, even though sometimes you could pay, for example, Amazon and all people want to like watch Holy City to keep watching.
Yes, yeah, the free streaming, right? Exactly. Yeah, that's right. But anyway, so social media also, you know, companies also have their own social media websites. I mean, not websites, I'm sorry, social media accounts on certain platforms where they communicate with customers. They also follow what other people say about them. You know, you can ask them to use hashtags and things like that. You can create promotion, social media. You can say, check in on the social media app when you visit us for a free soft drink. Check in and show us and you get a free soft drink, or you get a 10% discount off your meal, right? Yeah, so very heavily used, right? We have a social media marketing course here, by the way. Marketing course just for social media, right? Mobile marketing. What's mobile marketing?
Apps.
Apps, especially apps, right? I mean, most larger companies have apps. A lot of them kind of force you to download it before you can even do anything. You can't even do anything on the on the website anymore. You have to download the app to do certain things. You know, the reward programs, for example, companies like Noah's Bagels and stuff like that. You have to download the app in order to sign up for the reward program and collect your points, or Starbucks app, and then you scan it there and stuff like that. And by downloading the app and using the app, they now get more information about you. They know where you are, they know which stores you visit, they know what you buy, and they know how you pay. So there's a lot of information they get from you, which is valuable information. What's product placement? Yes, like in movies such as,
Like in the Truman Show, and I was like.
I watched the
They
Truman
do a
Show.
lot of product placement in it, well,
Yes, I don't remember what products they were. Household products.
like every,
Yeah,
what in movies or, TV studios and all, you know, you may have somebody may have a, let's say, cup of Starbucks, so you have
yeah, couple
thing
of
in the back of the,
banner.
banner of-
Yeah, like, yes.
in the Negroes movie, how long?
Oh, really? Yeah. So, I used to watch America Online, and they used to have Coke containers, Coca-Cola containers all the time, right? Yeah, and you know what, the movie companies, I guess, producers, they get paid to place those products there. That's one way for them to make money. Sometimes you see, they don't show the brands, like cars sometimes. They either don't have you know, BMW has the sign in the front, and in the back, they don't pay, they're not gonna show it, right? Yeah. Some movies, foreign movies especially, you have it blurred out and everybody knows it's a BMW, and they didn't pay them, you know, to put product placement. But anyway, you get the idea, that's product placement. It's kind of like we see it subconsciously, and we might relate to characters in a movie, and then we subconsciously go shopping, and somewhere in our brain, it sits in our brain's memory that this character that we identified with in a movie uses a brand, and it might entice us to buy that brand because our brain memory is there, but we don't necessarily purposely access it like that. Sometimes it's happening subconsciously.
US sponsorships fall under that as well, like, you know, Oracle Park.
Yes, actually they do. Yeah, this is not all inclusive. There are other things that are sponsorships, right? Yeah. Because you know what, let's say you sponsor a sports team, and they're all wearing Nike t-shirts or something like that, you know, their number, and the front, the back has the player number and the name, and the front has a Nike swoosh or something like that, right? That's very common, yes.
I don't think that way, because the sponsor is a kind of like it's obvious, but this placement, it kind
No,
of like us.
Placement doesn't fall under placement, it falls under advertising.
Yeah, I mean, the product placement, the sponsor is not.
No, it's not under product placement, but it's under advertising. We didn't say it's under product placement. Is that what you meant? Or did you just mean in general? Did you mean in general under advertising?
I was wondering if it was under product placement.
No, it's not.
Specifically, but yeah.
It's not under product placement. Thanks for
Yeah.
clarifying.
Yeah, I think product.
It's in general, it's another way of advertising.
Yeah, product placement is more textual.
Yeah, it's obvious, it's like, yeah, Nike obviously sponsors that team and pays a lot of money for them to wear that. Thanks for clarifying that. So, but it is a form of advertising, and is a trend, it's maybe not a trend, it's been around for a long time. Trends are more recently, actually. This is just the recent developments, right? Or the last 10 years or so. Infomercials. Do you know what infomercials are? Yeah, like QVC or something. Yeah. I never watch infomercials, but they're really, really long. Like they talk about a product for maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then you can buy, and we have a special, and if you dial now, within the next hour, you get another extra one, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't know why people watch TV infomercial channel, but they do. I guess it works, right? And then global advertising, anything, advertised around the world, really, that is because of technology, it has become easier to sell your products to other countries now that were out of reach in the past. All right, now let's get to public relations. So marketing function that establishes and maintains mutually beneficial relationship between organizations and its shareholders. Oh, that doesn't say much about it. So let me see if I have some more information here real quick. I mean, they use all shareholders and stakeholders, and they all benefit from it, meaning you want to create a good image. That's what public relationship needs. Public relations, not relationship, right? You want the public to think positive about you, right? You don't want them to talk bad about you, because nobody wants to spend their money at a company that doesn't have a good image. You don't feel good giving your money away to a company that doesn't support your values and things like that, right? We talked about before that as consumers, we have choices because there is competition in the market, right? We don't have to buy from one company. There are other options we can buy from if we don't like what this company does. So I'm very aware of who I'm buying from and where I'm spending my money. Not very aware, but I do think about it. And sometimes I'm okay paying a little more because I don't want to buy from this company because I don't like what they do. Or they don't have a good image for a good reason. What companies do you think have a not so good image, and for what reason? Meta, yes. What's wrong with Meta? How they use the information, how they share the information they get from consumers. They've been caught several times giving information away without the authorization of the users, right? How they create an environment for fake news, how they create environment for bullying among young people. Did they purposely do that? No. But they also are probably not doing enough to prevent that. Right? So they don't have a good image, right? They're still doing very well. Yeah. What other companies come to mind with not so good image?
PG&E.
Oh, PG&E, they're a monopoly. We have to buy from them. Yes, Gabriel.
What the name of the brand, but like for hair products that usually tie some animals?
Irish Spring,
Pantene, I think.
Pantene?
Pantene.
Pantene, what do they do?
Like they test the products
On animals. Okay, so cosmetic products that test on animals still, right? You don't really need to do that.
Right, Procter & Gamble.
Yeah, I'm sure they do, right? Yeah, exactly, yeah. What about companies that have a good image? Patagonia, yeah, Patagonia comes to mind, yeah. What do companies do to get a good image? They
use recycled material.
yeah, that Patagonia, or they buy things back, they donate money, right? What else can companies do? What they do is, this is why it's public relations. They create information, news about themselves. They have, there's something called news or press release. When you go to a company's big website, most big companies have that. There's a communication or marketing or media, and there's a press release that say we're doing this now. They should say we are donating X amount to this organization and things like that, right? So that's what public relations do to get a better image. Sometimes, companies are unlucky and they create a bad image because of something they can't control. For example, companies that are franchised, like fast food companies. If something happens at one location, and let's say it's McDonald's or something, and let's say there's food poisoning at one location, all of the McDonald's are going to suffer, even though they have no control. And that's going to become news quickly. So they have to really, really do something really quick to mitigate it and talk to the media. They actually have, companies have policies of who's allowed to talk to the media. They have identified individuals that are allowed to talk to the media about, especially when something like that happens. And that's part of the marketing department, right? You know, when you have some kind of scandal happening and you see somebody with a camera trying to talk and the person runs away, you know they're guilty, right? No, instead you're gonna say, well, send somebody to talk to you. You need to talk to the media, right? And mitigate the situation. So anyway, that's public relations. Sales promotion tools you can use for sales promotion. I don't think I need to explain these coupons, rebates, frequent user incentives. And this is, they use frequent user incentives a lot. The companies that started using it first, I think, are probably airlines, where you collect airline miles, then hotels started doing it. Now everybody does it. You know, Starbucks does it. Who else does frequent user rewards? Nordstrom. Ike Sandwiches does it, yeah. Oh, yeah, Noah's Bagels.
Credit cards.
Credit cards, that's right. You get miles with credit cards, or you can use it for other things. Oh, Amazon does it. You can have the Amazon credit card to get rewards, right? So that's frequent user incentives. Well, they work really well. Yes.
Rebates, for example.
Which one?
Rebates.
Yeah.
Oh, rebates. Oh, that's kind of like you get money back, I think. For you purchase something and you get money back, or you get a rebate that, like say, you buy something and you get a $10 something for your next purchase. Yeah.
But discount and rebate are the same thing.
No, discount is just straight discount. Let's say 10% off today. A rebate is you don't get 10% off, but you get,
You mail in and then you get it.
yeah, it could be a mail-in rebate. It could be something you can use for your next purchase, right?
I got $500 for leasing a Mazda because of the previous Mazda owner.
Oh,
So it was building a brand to put into.
that's, yeah, and that's a nice, nice amount. $500 is nice. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So that's rebates. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Free samples, point of purchase displays. You know, you go to a retail store and they have displays and you can buy it right then and there where they typically don't sell or something like that, you know. Contests and sweepstakes, giveaways, bonuses, you buy a gift card for $100 and you get $25 extra. That's a bonus, right?
Free samples and giveaways, how are they different?
Free samples, or you just get something free.
But giveaways, like, are they not the same thing?
Giveaways is not a sample. A sample is usually a small amount. A giveaway would be a whole product. Yeah. So anyway, those are just some tools for sales promotions to increase sales. Why would somebody do a sales promotion? Why would they sell for less or give away stuff? Yes.
People will buy more.
They want people to buy more, yeah, and maybe remind them, hey, we exist, and here, try again, you free, we have giveaways, we have free samples, yes.
They create a communities like, if,
I guess in the long term, it can create brand loyalty. But you have to be careful with promotions. You can't continue doing them because then people expect that all the time, especially with discounts. You know, we have discounts here somewhere, right? Oh, no, somebody asked about discounts, but you know, when you have, I think I mentioned it before, the $5 sandwich at Subway, footlong $5. When the promotion went for too long, so people in their minds, the value of a sandwich at Subway became $5. If it was more, it was expensive, right? Even though that's really cheap for a footlong sandwich. But so now I think they have a footlong, only one type. I don't know if they still do that or,
$15.
huh?
Foot long,
Uh-huh.
you got a combo and everything, that's $15.
$15, damn. Oh my gosh, that's, yeah, talking about inflation, right? Yeah. Anyway, let me move on here. Distribution, how do you get the product to the end user? That's what distribution is. In the 4 P's of marketing, it's called the place where the product and the consumer connect, right? So the process that makes the product available to consumers and when and where the consumers want them. It doesn't matter where it's convenient for you to put it, because you would just sell it at your factory, right? You don't have to send it anywhere. You don't have to give anybody any commission, or you don't have to pay retail stores and stuff. No, but that doesn't work like that. You have to put it where the consumer wants it and when the consumer wants it. So when you're going to sell summer clothes, you're going to sell them before the summer, when people start thinking about wearing summer clothes at places that your target market shops at. If it's a beach town, you're gonna maybe have a little beach boutique or something like that. If it's if your consumer shops at malls, you're gonna put it in mall locations or sell it at retailers in the malls, right? So at the right place at the right time. That's where you want to place your product, right? You use marketing intermediaries sometimes to get that to the right person, to the right place at the right time. Marketing intermediaries used to be called middlemen, but there can also be women. So middlemen is not a good term anymore. We call them marketing intermediaries. So there are wholesalers, agent brokers, and retailers. Let me just see if I have a slide explaining them before I I do. Let me just talk quickly here about it. Wholesalers are those that buy in large quantities. And then they sell it not directly to the consumer, but they sell it to retailers. So do you know any wholesalers? Yes. Costco is not a wholesaler. Costco is a retailer. Who shops at Costco?
You do.
And are you a consumer? Huh?
But businesses also buy from there.
No, not the regular. There are very few Costco's that businesses buy. There's actually, if you have a business license, you go to another Costco.
Yeah, it used to be more of a sailor when it first started, now it's very much
Not really,
retail.
not really.
Well, I mean, like in the eighties, I remember you couldn't get a card unless you had a business.
Oh, maybe, I don't know where back then. I didn't,
I thought
I wasn't
Samsung
here.
and Costco were both consumer and business.
no, they not the Costco we go to is not a wholesale. It's a retailer. They're selling in the amounts they're selling are for personal consumption, not for business, right? There's actually a Costco at the East Bay, maybe Hayward or somewhere, that is like for restaurants, for example. They sell in huge amounts. That's a business to business. They're not selling to consumers. So and everybody thinks Costco is a wholesaler because they market themselves as such. They use the word so we consumers think they're cheaper. And some of them, I do shop at Costco, right? Certain things, but they're not cheaper necessarily. You know, certain things are, you think they're cheaper, but you know, first of all, you buy 10 items and you end up paying $200. It's like, gosh, and you only have 10 things, right? Anyway, wholesalers are really intermediaries that then sell to another channel that sells to the customers. Wholesalers don't sell to consumers. They still sell to other retail stores, right?
What about those websites like Alibaba or?
I know they're still they do sell in huge quantities that you don't necessarily, they're probably something in between. Because I see, for example, somebody who makes jewelry wants to buy some knickknacks. They buy it in huge quantities, right? Yeah. They could be considered both, right? Yeah.
So basically, we would not, as a consumer, we would not know wholesalers because.
We typically wouldn't buy from wholesalers. We wouldn't buy.
We don't get to see them. They are.
Yeah, they're kind of behind the scenes. Exactly. Yeah, good point. Yeah. Agents and brokers, sometimes companies hire agents and brokers to sell their stuff. This could be, oftentimes it's done, you know, if you want to sell internationally, I hire an agent or a broker who's experienced to sell into a different country and things like that, right? Yeah. And then retailers are the stores that consumers go to. I'm going to skip this slide, but I'm going to go to this one here. It's easier. So here's an example of distribution channels for consumer products. Again, we're talking about consumer products that you and I buy. We're not talking about a consumer, we're not talking about a product that a restaurant might buy to serve their customers, right? So a restaurant is going to buy steak somewhere else than we buy steak at, because the retail price is too high for a restaurant, right? So here's an example of consumer producer directly to consumer, Avon. I don't know if you all know Avon. Avon is a cosmetics company that sells directly to the customer. They come to your house. I remember when I was little, my mom used to have an Avon wrap, and the Avon wrap had like tiny little toy type of lipsticks, and she would bring and give me some too and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, grooming girls to wear makeup at a very young age, right? Yeah, but that's a different story. Anyway, you get the point. That's direct sales. Called direct sales, yes, selling directly to the consumer, right? An example of Goodyear's tires. Goodyear's tires can go to, and that might not be the only channel they use. They might use multiple channels, right? But they can go to Tire Plus, and Tire Plus sells to Kevin, the consumer, right? Procter and Gamble, they sell, you know, cleaning products and stuff like that. They're likely to sell to grocery wholesalers because their stuff is sold in grocery stores. And then the grocery wholesaler sells to the grocery store, who then sells to the consumer. Levi's Jeans has a lot of different ones in between. They have clothing agents who sell to wholesalers, who sell to, in this example, Macy's, who sells a pair of jeans to Eric, right? Why would Levi's not just do, you know, not just do that? Because everybody here makes money. Everybody gets a big cut. Levi's might sell the jean per pair, maybe for $10. I'm just making up numbers. I'm not saying this is accurate. Let's say $20. So they're going to sell it for $40. They're going to sell it for $80 to the consumer. So everybody kind of wants to, rule of thumb is you want to double it, right? Each intermediary sells it for double from what they bought.
Isn't it also called the MAD cost, marketing, advertising, distribution, MAD cost?
Mad cost, I haven't heard about that. Marketing,
Advertising, and distribution.
marketing, advertising, and distribution. Yeah, it's quite mad, because all that other stuff we talked about, you need to pay for marketing, right? Yeah. But anyway, why would Levi's not just do that and keep all the money?
Well, they do, they're like Nike, they have their own store.
But why would they do that exclusively?
Well, they wanna get more sales. If they only sold from their stores, then they wouldn't be able to sell all their products.
That's right. They wouldn't be able to reach everybody else. It's one way to reach, yeah. And they do have their, you know, it's not like this is the only thing they do. Levi's also does all of these problems. They definitely have their own stores, right? That they sell out of their own stores too, right? Every major city has a Levi's store, basically, just like Nike, yeah. Questions? Okay. Well, I'm not gonna go through that, just make sure you look at it, quickly. We're specialty stores only sell certain type of products, like Foot Locker sell shoes only, department stores sell all kinds of stuff, from furniture to underwear to whatever, you know, you name it, right? Supermarkets sell, you know, stuff we consume in high volume. Convenience stores, we talked about that when we talked about type of products, didn't we? Maybe we didn't have an assignment, but didn't we talk about convenience products, emergency products? Yeah, we did. Yes, we did in the classroom. Yeah, we did. Yeah. Discount stores. I don't know if I could really consider Target and Walmart as discount stores. I'm thinking about stores like Dollar Store or something like that. I think this Target and Walmart are just almost like department stores, right? Except they sell food.
Supermarket.
Hmm?
Walmart could be under supermarket because it is.
Both.
cost.
They do both, right? Kind of like Target. Yeah, they do both. They're a supermarket and a department store, almost like that, right? Yeah. So, but mostly a household product, right? Factory outlets. They're usually at some other location, you know, Gilroy or something like that, and they have outlet stores. You know, outlet stores, I think, changed over time. When they first started, they would sell the products that they can't sell in the regular store anymore. Maybe they're from last season, right? Maybe they're a truck that was in an accident and some things they just won't sell in the main store anymore. They have to sell at a discount. Yes,
But stores like TJ Maxx and Marshalls and Ross, be like factory outlets.
no, because they're not, they're still a retailer. So a factory outlet is a Nike store at an outlet center, right? I think I would call TJ Maxx and stuff more like a discount store than I would call Target and stuff like that, but, this is how they classified it. But you know, now when I go to I don't go to factory outlets anymore because I feel like they have complete different line, like a lower quality line, and it's messy. And I used to go to Nordstrom Rack all the time, but I don't anymore because it's a big mess and you can't find anything nice. And you know, you get a regular Nordstrom sale is better than the rack prices nowadays. I mean, I don't know. I think the whole mission of factory outlets has changed, right? So, and it attracts a different population too, right? Still good stuff. I mean, still good options, right? To buy stuff. And then warehouse clubs like Costco and stuff like that. Again, it's not a warehouse, so to speak. It's still a retail store, right? These are all retailers, even though they call themselves warehouse or wholesaler. Questions? All right, okay, good. I'm almost done, yeah. So benefits and, okay, so some of the things you have to think about when you think about distribution is how much is it going to cost you to ship things? And that's going to affect if you're going to use wholesalers or not, because if you're using wholesalers, that's all you need to worry about, getting something to the wholesaler. And you're going to get it to the wholesaler in large quantities. Maybe once you go directly to the retailer, the quantity isn't as big anymore. So the shipping cost is going to change if you do it per item. Can change depending on how you can ship your product. I mean, here are just examples that you have to look at, you know, you know, how these modes affect cost and speed. I think cost and speed is really important, right? To consider. If you do inventory planning well, speed might not be as important, but cost is definitely important. And finally, you have to do warehouse and inventory control. You know, warehousing is expensive. You have to have space to keep stock. So you don't want to have too much stock at hand, right? There are different types of warehouses, but, you know, storage warehouses and distribution warehouses. You know who has this down really well is Amazon. Amazon has warehousing and distribution down to the T. I mean, how is it possible that you get things so quickly? No shipping cost, right? They really have like a network all over the country and in other countries as well. Yeah, they're very widely used in the UK. Maybe not so much in all European countries, but I know because I lived in the UK, very, very widely used, right? Yeah. And they have distribution warehouses, right? Very strategically located. And there's a lot of use of technology in warehousing and inventory control. There's something at, I don't remember if it was mentioned in this chapter, but there's something called just-in-time or JIT inventory system. You produce things just in time so you don't have to store them very long before you use them or before you sell them, because the longer you store them, the more space you waste. We want to get things in and out quickly, right? Anyway, that's it for this chapter. Any questions? My glasses are about to break. Any questions? Okay, let me stop the slides.